Welcome to our show.
Hey, good to see you, Vincent.
Okay, the week is coming to an end.
Yep.
And,
short one.
You know the purpose of this mobile studio is to go to different districts.
Yeah.
So we have been very close to district councils.
Oh, yeah, I bet.
And today you're going to talk about the district councils.
Absolutely.
Tell me something I don't know.
Okay. You may or may not know this, but there's a bit of a movement. Priscilla Long yesterday was in LegCo and making the argument that the current campaign spending limits for district council elections, which is $53,800, is too low. She's saying, people, this is crazy. And,
$53,800
to run a campaign. Right, we just had the recent by-election over in
Aberdeen. Not per head donation.
No, that's
it's
like
the entire campaign.
Yeah, so all those
Wow.
roadside banners you see put up and all that has to be accounted for, and the max they can spend is $53,800. Now, of course, with a limit that low, right, you can't even hire part-time staff. You couldn't even hire a campaign manager.
Yep.
Much less all your materials and everything. So the whole thing pretty much has to be volunteer run. But the problem is that the candidate is on the hook for any spending, that any volunteer, gets a little enthusiastic, goes out and buys some paper clips. If that doesn't get accounted for, they spend right up to the limit. Elections comes back and says, hey, this guy went and spent another $100 in your account, you're over the limit, $1 million fines, going to jail.
And my understanding is that even if a district councillor wants to appoint you as the campaign manager, and even if you are willing to do it for free, they still have to turn that into some sort of man-hour cost to calculate that into the budget. Which means even for hiring volunteers, they can only hire unskilled workers. Otherwise, they will be extremely expensive. Like they cannot hire you as a volunteer.
No way.
That's my understanding of the election budget.
And it's really, how are we supposed to get proper campaigns, people running rallies, if and develop a proper strong political culture if people can't even spend the
appropriate
amounts to run a real campaign. I mean, for those of us that have lived in other places and been involved in politics there, you're really amazed, like 53,800 Hong Kong dollars, that's nothing to run a campaign. I mean, really.
With inflation and all that?
Well, but under any circumstances, even 10 years ago, it wouldn't have been very much. And so there's this question. Priscilla Long clearly feels that is not enough, and so, was down to LegCo making the argument. Now, of course, the flip side of that is that, some people just want to see as little money in politics as possible, and I can appreciate that view. It can get completely out of hand. But somewhere between the two, a happy medium needs to be found.
Anything less than 100,000 for a district council campaign doesn't make sense to me.
And
doesn't make sense to me.
No, I mean, really.
Actually, anything lower than 200,000 actually doesn't make sense to me. It's a month-long campaign.
It's a month-long campaign. Yeah, exactly.
And you have to make vests and posters and And honestly, with a budget that low, you can have really ugly layout. For their banner.
There's not much.
It's not good for the creative industries as well.
Yeah, I remember, actually, it's funny, the last district council election, Erica Yuan had a really wonderfully produced brochure. The English was flawless, which you almost never see in Hong Kong anymore. It was small, like this, but it just loaded. It had, I would guess, off the top of my head, 48 pages, which means design, layout, translation for 48 pages. That piece alone must have gone. I'm looking at that and thinking, wow, if she printed 1,000 of those, that would have blown out her whole budget right there. And obviously, that wasn't all she did. So, I mean, it's really amazing how little that amount is.
And if you are relying on the district councillors to actually do some research, follow up on pragmatic issues, they need a proper booklet to tell you as well
what their position is. Sure.
I mean, I don't want shake hands photos and ceremonial photos. So,
well, people here do like that stuff, but I mean, ideally you would have some proper research into policy and have some people do some decent writing for you. But it's on that budget, I don't know. So Priscilla Leung, everybody, have a look at that and think about, I think for people watching, what they want to think about is what is their how much money do they think is an appropriate amount to have in.
Well, I know having too high a budget will pose some threats because people will argue that the establishment can get funding more easily. But I'm talking about district council getting 100,000 support, even for a pan Democrat. that should be able to do so.
Yeah, district council elections are really about getting out in the street, talking to the people, which, of course, is cheap.
Yeah.
But if we're talking like $10 million campaigns, then yes, then it is getting out of hand, and people are going to start buying everything up, and money starts to play a bigger role. But
100,000 campaign?
53,800 is not even close. And
53,800 is actually a hindrance to proper election.
Yeah, and especially when you consider the penalties for going over that. You spend more than $1,000, you're getting hit with lawsuits, and elections is chasing you around and making you, audits and everything. I mean, it would deter people.
So,
it is a hindrance.
I'll pick hindrance.
Okay.
That's the key word.
Hindrance is our word of the day.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.